Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we begin with breaking news that has left fans of Little People, Big World shaken, worried, and asking one question. What happened to Amy Roloff? In a turn of events that nobody saw coming, Amy Roloff, the beloved matriarch of the Roloff family, was suddenly hospitalized. And as this shocking news spread across headlines and fan communities, her husband, Chris Marek, has been described as visibly upset, heartbroken, and deeply concerned. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I am Elena and I hope you are well. If you like the video, please subscribe the channel USA Dramatic Show and press the bell icon. This is not just another family headline. This is a moment that carries real fear, uncertainty, and emotion for the Roloff family, for Chris, and for millions of viewers who have followed Amy's journey for nearly 2 decades. So what happened? What led Amy Roloff to the hospital? And how is Chris Marek coping with this sudden health scare? Let's break it down step by step. News of Amy Roloff's hospitalization came suddenly. At first, whispers appeared in fan groups and social media threads. People began asking, why hasn't Amy posted her usual updates? Where is her cheerful kitchen content? Why the silence? Then, a report surfaced. Amy had been admitted to a hospital. The exact details were not immediately clear. Was it a routine checkup gone wrong, an emergency situation, or something more serious? And in that fog of uncertainty, fans did what fans always do. They speculated. Some feared the worst. Others clung to hope. But one thing was certain. Amy's husband, Chris Marek, was right there by her side, and witnesses described him as visibly shaken, deeply emotional, and fighting to stay strong for Amy. For a man who has often been the steady, calm presence in Amy's life, this moment was different. This was Chris, not as the calm partner in front of cameras, but as a husband watching the woman he loves being taken into hospital care. And that image alone has left fans emotional. Before we go deeper into the story of her hospitalization, let's step back and remember who Amy Roloff is, not just to her family, but to the world. Amy Roloff has been a central figure on Little People, Big World since its premiere in 2006. Viewers have watched her navigate motherhood, marriage, divorce, and eventually a new chapter of love with Chris Marek. For many fans, Amy isn't just a reality TV personality. She feels like family. Her cooking videos, her relatable humor, her vulnerability about struggles, they've all built a bond between her and millions of viewers. So when news breaks that Amy is in the hospital, it doesn't just stay as a headline. It hits home. It feels personal. It feels like a family member is unwell. And that explains the flood of concern, prayers, and emotional posts that immediately filled online spaces once the story came out. Now, let's focus on Chris Marek. Those who know Amy and Chris's relationship know that Chris is more than just Amy's husband. He's her partner, her rock, the man who came into her life after a very public and painful divorce from Matt Roloff. Chris has often been praised for his calm, grounding presence. On the show, he's the man who listens, supports, and encourages Amy to live fully in her new chapter. But during Amy's hospitalization, reports describe a very different picture. Chris was seen with worry etched on his face. His voice, usually steady, carried cracks of emotion. People close to the family say Chris has been deeply shaken. To see Amy, his wife, his partner, his best friend, suddenly in a hospital bed was overwhelming. And while Chris has always supported Amy through ups and downs, this time the challenge feels heavier. Because health scares don't just test the body, they test the heart. And Chris's heart, as one source put it, is aching for Amy right now. At this point in our coverage, let's separate facts from speculation. Heavy checkmark, what we know, Amy Roloff was hospitalized. The news was confirmed by multiple close sources. Chris Marek has been by her side and has been described as very upset. Fans have expressed an outpouring of concern online. Question mark, what we don't know. The exact medical reason for her hospitalization has not been officially released. There are unverified claims circulating, but until Amy or Chris confirms, these remain speculative. This lack of clarity is both frustrating and understandable. On one hand, fans want answers. They care deeply and want to know she's safe. On the other hand, this is a personal, private health matter, and the Roloffs, despite being public figures, are entitled to privacy in moments like these. Still, the silence fuels speculation, and speculation often breeds more fear. Let's take a closer look at the days and weeks before Amy's hospitalization. In recent updates, Amy appeared cheerful, posting about her family, her kitchen, and little glimpses of her everyday life. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. That's what makes this sudden hospitalization so shocking. There were no public warning signs, no major health complaints shared online, and then suddenly, silence. A pause in updates. And then the news breaks. Amy Roloff is in the hospital. That timeline alone creates an unsettling sense of mystery. How did things change so quickly? Fans have asked, was it a sudden illness? Was it something long-term that Amy kept private? Or was it a routine procedure that became more serious than expected? The truth, at least for now, remains closely guarded by the family. Meanwhile, the reactions have been overwhelming. Fans from all around the world have flooded social media with messages of support. Posts with hashtags like #PrayersForAmy and #StayStrongAmy have appeared. One fan wrote, "Amy, you've inspired me for years. Please get well soon. We're all rooting for you." Another said, "Chris, stay strong. You've been Amy's rock, and now she needs you more than ever." And within the Roloff family itself, emotions are running high. While not all members have spoken publicly, it's clear this has sent ripples through the family dynamic. Because when the matriarch, the heart of the family, is in the hospital, everyone feels it. And right now, that's what's happening to the Roloffs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we stand so far. Amy Roloff, hospitalized in a moment that stunned fans. Chris Marek, deeply upset, staying by her side. And a cloud of uncertainty hanging over what exactly has happened. But this is only the beginning of our coverage. Because coming up in part 2, we're going to dive even deeper. What insiders are saying about Amy's condition. How Chris is coping privately behind closed doors. And the emotional twists this health scare has brought to the Roloff family. Stay with us, because the story of Amy Roloff's shocking hospitalization is far from over. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the final part of this emotional journey, we must take a step back and reflect. The story of Amy Roloff's hospitalization is not just about one moment of fear. It's about love, resilience, family, and the reality of what happens when health challenges strike unexpectedly. The cameras of Little People, Big World have followed Amy through triumphs and heartbreaks. But this moment, her sudden hospitalization, reminded fans, friends, and family that behind the television personality is a real woman, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother whose health and well-being matter deeply. And by her side throughout this ordeal has been Chris Marek, the man who married her in a beautiful ceremony not too long ago, the man who has promised to love her in sickness and in health. In this ending segment, we'll reflect on Chris's emotional struggle, the family's response, the powerful reaction from fans around the world, and what this means for Amy Roloff's legacy as both a public figure and a private woman. This is not just an ending, it's a reminder of what truly matters. When the news of Amy's hospitalization first broke, all eyes turned toward Chris Marek. For years, audiences have seen him as Amy's calm, steady anchor. He's been the partner who listens, who encourages, who quietly lifts Amy up when the weight of public life feels heavy. But behind the cameras, behind the polished smiles, there is a man carrying worry, exhaustion, and fear. Sources close to the Roloffs describe Chris as deeply shaken. He has barely left Amy's side in the hospital. He's been spotted pacing hospital corridors, his usual calm demeanor replaced with concern etched into every expression. This is the Chris fans rarely see, the husband afraid of losing the woman he loves. And that image, Chris holding Amy's hand at her hospital bedside, has been one of the most emotional details to emerge from this story. It reminds us all that love is tested most powerfully in moments of uncertainty. For Chris, the silence of those long hospital nights, the waiting for updates from doctors, the fear of unknown outcomes. These have been some of the hardest days of his life. And yet, through that struggle, Chris has remained committed, strong, and present. His love for Amy has never been clearer than in this moment. Of course, no health crisis impacts just one person. For the Roloffs, Amy's hospitalization has brought waves of emotion through the entire family. Her children, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, have all been processing this in their own ways. While not every Roloff has spoken publicly, insiders suggest that the siblings have united in concern for their mother. Differences and past tensions seem to fade when health and life are on the line. For Zach Roloff and his wife Tori, the hospitalization has been particularly emotional. They've often leaned on Amy for support with their own children. The thought of Amy being in a vulnerable state has been overwhelming. Matt Roloff, Amy's former husband, is said to have also reached out with concern. Despite years of differences, Matt understands what it means when the mother of his children is facing a health battle. At the end of the day, family bonds remain powerful, even after divorce. And let's not forget Amy's grandchildren. To them, she is not a television personality. She is simply Grandma Amy, the one who bakes cookies, tells stories, and lights up their lives. The thought of her in the hospital has been difficult for them to understand, but the family has rallied to keep the children reassured and hopeful. Through all of this, the Roloffs are showing what many families discover in health crises. Conflict fades, unity grows stronger, and love becomes the guiding force. It's impossible to talk about Amy Roloff's hospitalization without recognizing the role of her fans. For nearly 2 decades, viewers have followed her life. They've seen her triumphs, her heartbreaks, her cooking adventures, and her moments of vulnerability. For many, Amy feels like someone they personally know. And when someone you feel close to suffers, you react. The fan community's outpouring of love has been extraordinary. Social media platforms have been flooded with messages, prayers, and emotional posts. Some fans have shared how Amy inspired them to face their own challenges with courage. Others have written about how they see her as a second mother figure. Many have simply written, "We love you, Amy. Get well soon." This is more than celebrity admiration. This is a genuine bond between a woman who opened her life to the world and the world that now refuses to let her suffer alone. In many ways, Amy's fan base has become an extended family, a global community united by care, concern, and love for her. As we bring this story to a close, one question remains. What comes next? The truth is, hospitalizations are turning points. They mark moments when life slows down, when priorities shift, when health takes center stage. For Amy Roloff, the path ahead may involve recovery, reflection, and perhaps lifestyle adjustments. For Chris Merrick, it will mean continuing to support Amy with patience, love, and resilience. And for the Roloff family, this health scare may serve as a reminder of how precious life is, how fragile health can be, and how important it is to hold on tightly to those you love. We do not yet know the full medical details of Amy's condition. That information remains private, as it should. But what we do know is that Amy is strong. She has faced challenges before. And with Chris by her side, with her children supporting her, and with millions of fans cheering her on, her chances of recovery are strengthened by love itself. Amy Roloff is not just a name on television. She is a woman who has shown the world that life's challenges, whether related to health, relationships, or personal growth, can be met with resilience and courage. Her story, including this hospitalization, is not just about fear. It's about the reality that all of us will one day face moments of vulnerability. It's about the reminder that health is never guaranteed. But more importantly, it's about the truth that when hard times come, love rises. Chris's love, her family's love, her fans' love. And that is Amy Roloff's legacy, inspiring others not just through her achievements, but through the way she is loved and the way she gives love. As we close this report, let us carry forward a reminder from Amy Roloff's story. Life is fragile. Health is precious. Love is everything. If Amy's hospitalization has taught us anything, It is that we must treasure the people in our lives, support them through hardships, and never take a single moment for granted. Chris Marek's tears, the Roloff family's unity, the fans' prayers, all of these show us the power of community in the face of fear. So tonight, as we send our love and support to Amy Roloff and her family, let us also hold our own loved ones a little closer. Because in the end, that is the lesson. That is the truth. And that is the legacy of Amy Roloff's shocking hospitalization. Not fear, not sadness, but love that refuses to break.